Today, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has once again sounded the alarm, not about a breakthrough, but about the continued unwillingness of Vladimir Putin to end the war. In his latest remarks, Zelenskyy accused Russia's leader of trying to wriggle out of holding a meeting to discuss peace arrangements, declaring bluntly, "They don't want to end this war." It was a statement that captured both frustration and determination, a window into the grinding reality of a war that has now dragged on for years. While some had hoped diplomacy might be inching forward, Zelenskyy made it clear. Russia's actions speak louder than words, and those actions are not aimed at peace. The Ukrainian president pointed to recent Russian strikes, including attacks on facilities belonging to an American company in the city of Mukachevo, deep in western Ukraine. He also highlighted what he called a growing list of provocations directed at NATO countries, including Lithuania and Poland. These were not accidents, Zelenskyy insisted. They were deliberate acts, what he called Russian impudence. The message was unmistakable. Moscow is not playing the game of negotiation. It is continuing to escalate not only on Ukrainian soil but at NATO's doorstep. And that raises the stakes far beyond Kyiv. Zelensky's call to partners was just as direct. "We expect our partners to respond in a principled manner," he said. "This war must be brought to an end. Pressure must be exerted on Russia to end the war. Putin understands nothing but force and pressure." It was both a plea and a warning. A plea for stronger international backing, and a warning that without it, Moscow will feel emboldened to push even further. But there was another layer to his remarks, one that reveals how complex this moment has become. He was responding not only to Russia's aggression, but also to words from across the Atlantic, words from the President of the United States. Donald Trump, now back in the White House, had taken to Truth Social with his own blunt statement. His frustration was not aimed at Kyiv, but at Moscow's obstruction, and at his predecessor, Joe Biden. Trump accused Biden of having tied Ukraine's hands by refusing to allow truly offensive operations against Russia. In his post, Trump wrote, "It is very hard, if not impossible, to win a war without attacking an invader's country. It's like a great team in sports that has a fantastic defense but is not allowed to play offense. There is no chance of winning. It is like that with Ukraine and Russia. Crooked and grossly incompetent Joe Biden would not let Ukraine fight back, only defend. How did that work out? Interesting times ahead." The words were typical Trump, fiery, combative, aimed as much at political rivals as at the situation itself. But they carried a message that Zelenskyy quickly seized on. "Of course," Zelenskyy said, "we will continue doing everything to protect our country and people. President Trump is absolutely right. This must be done not only in defense. Meanwhile, we do not slow down in diplomacy, so that negotiations to bring peace closer can finally take place." Here was a rare moment of alignment between Trump and Zelenskyy. Both acknowledged what many military analysts have argued for years, that no war can be won by defense alone. At some point, the fight has to be taken to the aggressor. For Ukraine, that has always meant striking Russian positions, supply lines, and infrastructure that support the invasion. For Trump, it was also a chance to point out what he saw as the failures of Biden's approach, restraining Kyiv in the name of caution. But behind the politics, the reality remains. Russia is still on the offensive, and Ukraine is still fighting for survival. So what do these latest exchanges tell us? First, they reveal the deep frustration in Kyiv. Zelenskyy has spent months pushing for serious negotiations, for a meeting that could at least test whether Putin has any interest in ending the war. Instead, he says, Russia dodges, delays, and continues to bombard. Every strike, every provocation aimed at NATO's borders is evidence in his mind that Moscow is not negotiating in good faith. Second, they show the fragile balance Ukraine must strike with its partners. Zelenskyy needs military support, economic aid, and diplomatic backing. But he also has to navigate the shifting politics in Washington, where the debate over Ukraine has become as much about domestic rivalry as about foreign policy. Trump's statement reflects that tension. It was as much a swipe at Biden as it was a commentary on the war. Yet for Zelenskyy, it was an opportunity to reinforce his own message. Ukraine cannot win by standing still. Third, they underscore the danger of escalation. Strikes on Mukachevo, provocations near Lithuania and Poland. These are not just Ukrainian issues. They are tests for NATO, tests of whether the alliance is willing to draw firm red lines. Zelenskyy's words, "We expect our partners to respond in a principled manner," were directed as much at Brussels and Washington as at Moscow. At its core, this moment is about leverage. Putin knows that prolonging the war strains Ukraine, divides its allies, and fuels political debates abroad. Zelenskyy knows that only unrelenting pressure, military, economic, and diplomatic, will force Russia to the table. Trump, meanwhile, sees an opportunity to reshape America's role in the conflict on his terms, portraying himself as the leader who will finally let Ukraine fight back. But the stakes could not be higher. Every delay in peace talks means more lives lost, more cities scarred, more families displaced. And while the political debates rage, the reality on the ground does not change. Russian missiles still fall, Ukrainian soldiers still fight, civilians still suffer. Zelenskyy ended his remarks with a phrase that captures both hope and uncertainty. Let's see what today brings. It was a reminder that in war, each day carries its own weight. A new offensive, a new strike, a new political twist. So, where does this leave us? With a war that shows no signs of ending soon, a Russian leader accused of dodging peace talks, a Ukrainian president demanding more pressure, and an American president, signaling that defense alone will not be enough. It is a volatile mix, one that could shape not just the months ahead, but the entire course of this war. For now, Zelenskyy is standing firm. He will not let Russia off the hook for its provocations. He will not accept empty gestures in place of real negotiations. And he will not stop pressing his allies, from NATO to Washington, to step up the pressure on Moscow. As for Putin, his strategy remains as it has been: stall, escalate, avoid commitments, and hope that time weakens Ukraine's position. And for Trump, his words suggest a shift toward a more aggressive approach, one that could bring relief to Kyiv or risk widening the war even further. These are the questions hanging over the conflict today. Will Russia ever come to the table in good faith? Will NATO respond firmly to provocations on its borders? Will the United States under Trump push Ukraine to take the fight deeper into Russian territory? And what will all of this mean for a war that has already reshaped Europe and tested the world's resolve? Only time will tell. As Zelenskyy said, let's see what today brings.